Well, we're joined now by Timothy Ademola, who is the coordinator, Network of Progressive Activists, as we turn our attention now to the probe in the oil sector. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, this Network of Progressive Activists, what do they do? What is it about?
Well, basically, as the name implies, it's a coalition of activists who believe that things should be done in a particular way. Progressivism itself, it's an ideology, as you know. We believe that there is an angle to taking public issues, there is an angle to taking civil issues, and we call it the progressive angle. It's basically an angle whereby you want to look at things in the best interest of everybody, and then to move things forward at a particular pace, not to allow things to be, bogged down by bureaucracy and all of that. So that's what we are for. We are saying that Nigeria, this great country, must move forward. Nigeria must move forward according to its laws. Every obstacle on the way, as much as possible, must be removed, and our country should be on a faster lane. That's what we're about.
Do you think the way that the petroleum industry is run at the moment, there's a lot of obstacles there in terms of these allegations of sleaze, graft we see flying here and there?
Yeah, there is no doubt that the petroleum industry can be run better. But my particular take, honestly, is that for the petroleum industry to be run better, I think the first thing we need to do is to visit the regime of laws governing that sector. I had you, I think, speaking to one of your guests about it. You see, the Petroleum Industry Bill is the way to go. Even the people in the industry, and I am a very keen watcher of that industry, even the people in the industry will tell you, you see, we need better laws to be able to guide ourselves here. Now, honestly speaking, I think one of the best things that can happen to Nigeria at this moment is if the Petroleum Industry Bill somehow finds its way into law. So there's no doubt about it. The oil industry can do better than what is being done right now, but the instrument, in today's world, you don't move forward without legislation. You know how democracies work. So it can be done better, but the way to do it better is what we need to focus on. And I think the Petroleum Industry Bill is the way forward for that industry.
Isn't the National Assembly doing a good job of that? Investigating all these allegations here and there?
Yeah, the National Assembly is doing a good job. They have oversight functions. But in certain cases, some of us are getting worried. Definitely, honestly, I think no allegation should be left uninvestigated. But then you must also take something into cognizance. Now, particularly in the case of the petroleum minister, if somebody has come before the National Assembly 100 days, 200 days, that's 200 working days. Chamberlain, 200 working days means a lot to any minister, not just the minister.
200 days.
Yes.
For this 7th National Assembly?
Yes. Over 200 times she has appeared. So the question is, all right, I understand that this perhaps is the largest sector of our economy. I understand that she may have to appear more than other ministers. Nobody's doubting that. But where do we cap it? Or should she spend half of the time she should spend on her seat there? So that's where the concern is. Nobody will say, nobody in his rational mind will say, don't go to the National Assembly. But the idea is that this should be limited. It should be understood that she also has a job to do, she has work to do, and she should be given some space to do it. But where there are real issues, of course she should be invited. But we should watch her. And you see, very honestly, let's just say this. Just like it was mentioned, see, the truth is that there's a little bit of politics in here. There's a little bit of politics in here. I feel very strongly in the number of times we are seeing her coming before the National Assembly.
Why do you say so?
All right. Honestly speaking, Chamberlain, 200 times is not a joke.
Who was counting? I mean, how did you get that figure?
We are interested parties. And the truth of the matter is that every single time, for example, every single time anybody appears, there is record.
What if the National Assembly says, wait a minute, what do you guys mean 200 times? From our records, there is no way, not 200.
Well, I will not join issues with the exalted assembly. I would just simply say in that case, if, for example, I were asked, I would simply, through another forum, suggest and point out the number of times. But I wouldn't join issues with them.
Okay.
All right. But I will point out the number of times.
Let's also go back to what transpired about 48 hours ago, where the president addressed the nation in his presidential media chat. You know, he also mentioned some of these issues in the petroleum sector, and one of such is the alleged missing oil revenue. Well, 49.8, 20 billion, or 10 billion. He spoke on that particular matter. What was your take on that at the end of his explanation on this matter?
You know, my journey on the missing funds is a particularly funny one. Honestly, the first time I heard about the money that was missing, that was 49.8 billion. You know, these days I'm not too good doing maths in my head. So I took my computer and I did it up to Naira. And when I heard it in Naira, I was alarmed. I guess that was the reaction across the board for most Nigerians. How can this quantum of funds be missing from the Federal Republic of Nigeria? That's our budget for, but then suddenly, from where the allegation came from, we saw that the amounts being alleged to have been missing suddenly changed. Now, it changed around 2-3 times. I'm sure you all know about it. Then the question first is, how much money is missing? So that was what everybody was addressing. Okay, you've alleged, and the person that alleged, was a high government official. So when the allegation came forth, by reason of the seat he was on, everybody gave credibility to that allegation. But then we became concerned when the figures were shifting, because somebody sitting at that level should speak authoritatively. That's somebody that understands the finances of the Federal Republic, and we expected authoritative statements. So when that was not coming forth, we became concerned. Now, the figures now, I know that the one that everybody is now looking at is the last one that the same person brought forth, which is $20 billion. Now, but I love the point that Mr. President made. The point is that, and I'm quite aware of it also, because I have a few friends, who have done this EFCC training, and I myself am a little bit literate, if I must say that to you. I also fully agree, honestly, and we should look at this, Sulaiman. Truly, in today's world, in today's wired and connected world, it's going to be very difficult to carry $20 billion and hide it under the mat. Now, for you to carry this quantum of funds, we know the traditional places where this kind of funds should be. But today's world and what is happening today, honestly, if you do that, somebody will point you out. Financial intelligence in the world today has gone way beyond that. Now, this is not funds.
What if the one who's pointing you out is the CBN governor?
Oh, beautiful. If the one who is pointing you out is the CBN governor, like I said, I expected that the CBN governor said, okay, this fellow took this money, and I don't expect him to then start, changing his position. You said somebody took 49.8 billion is missing from a sector. Then suddenly you came to 10.8 billion. Then you came to 12 billion. Then you came to 20 billion. Then I become worried about that. Why are you changing the figures?